Welcome back, everyone. It's Tomebinder, and today we're checking out a super recent map, the Battle of Brandywine, by former President Obama. Actually, I think you just call him President. I think once you become a president, you just say President. Well, regardless, he's cooked up the Battle of Brandywine for us, one of the largest battles of the American Revolutionary War. He tried to make it a loose interpretation of the battle, so not maybe very historically accurate, but I checked it out, and I think it's a Conquest or King of the Hill map, which we don't see as much anymore in Ancient Warfare 3. Also, I haven't played a lot of maps by this creator, so I figured I might as well check it out. Lots of detail, as you can tell from the map. Kind of looking forward to it. This will be a nice outdoors daytime map, which sort of stands in contrast to some of my more recent videos, which have been inside, and in some cases, varying shades of gray. So, we'll get a little more color this time, which I believe I've talked about is one of my favorite things in an Ancient Warfare 3 map. Look at that. Look at how bright and vibrant it is. We must advance to liberate the colonies. I think this is the same sound Desert Mammoth used when he did his Revolutionary War battles. But let's look around the map. Wow, what a cool environment. I believe I'll actually be able to afford to turn up my graphics for this map, which is a rare delight. I wish more maps nowadays allowed you to enjoy them on higher graphical settings, but what can you do? Well, you can make your maps more performance-intensive. Performance-safe, I mean. You can make your maps less performance-intensive, and that would be great. I just saw some big old explosions over there. However, you know who I'm not seeing are the British. Huge explosion. Such a really appealing thumbnail for this map, too. I just had to check it out. Oh, and of course we have to reload. We get our one shot, and then we reload. That's a lot of redcoats. We control the hill, at least, the high ground. They're forced to come up towards us. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I played a good old-fashioned Ancient Warfare 3. Conquest map. Unfortunately, we are going to have to turn the graphical settings back down. I was sadly mistaken about that. I would recommend cutting out perhaps a few grass objects in this map. I think maybe contributing to the lag, but we shall see how it looks now. Oh, this is a lot smoother. Okay, good. Fall back a bit. Even one shot from a blunderbuss is nigh on lethal. And two, well, I say. Let's respawn. We need to make it back up to that hill stat. But this map also takes good advantage of the background objects, so it does feel like we're truly in a much larger area than we are. Of this barn. Yeah, I don't know, it's just fun. We don't see a lot of musket-era battles in Ancient Warfare 3, but there's no reason they can't be just as cool as others. Also, it's also kind of rare to get a historical battle in Ancient Warfare 3. There's a lot of proprietary lore in it now, so it's cool to see that. I unfortunately do have to crank it all the way down to the lowest graphical settings. I might honestly have to make a little podcast about this, how people seem to have forgotten the performance-intensive problem is like the problem when you're making something. If you make something lag when you're creating a map, it's gonna turn them away. Yeah, see, this just looks not so good, so I'm gonna have to do something about this. Quality B. Shadow resolution medium. Shadow distance. Let's turn off bloom. I think that's the big deal, actually. Okay, how about this? Oof. Yeah, it's just okay. Is it better now? Yeah. I think this one, unlike the last map I played, which was kind of burdened by the large number of scripts, I think this one is burdened by the large number of objects. I think you simply do not need nearly this many grass objects for a map to feel authentic. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not something that's going to go away over the course of the map. You know what? I think I'm going to turn this video into a discussion about performance in maps. Just a brief podcast about it. This is a cool map, the Battle of Brandywine, and I really like the thumbnail, and I think it does have a lot of potential. And I think the one thing that will allow it to catapult into greatness is cutting down on the objects. It looks like there's a lot of duplicated grass clusters, as you can see here. But the simple fact of the matter is, if somebody is lagging that hard in Ancient Warfare 3, they're going to turn the battle off, just like I did. So, all I'd recommend doing is, even in this area, which I know is supposed to be a farmland and have uniform plants, it's realistic that bombardment would create gaps in the field. You can even add some charring and fire there. But no, yeah, these are too many grass objects for an area the player will never see. So I guess all I'd recommend for this particular map is to be a little bit more economical with your objects. I think you're on the cusp of something super duper cool, but I don't want to necessarily bang my head into the wall over and over again trying to complete a super laggy map. But now let me shift gears a little bit, because it feels like people have gone hard into exploring the potential of Ancient Warfare 3 as a game creator, which is super cool. However, a lot of the maps I've played recently have been kind of hard to get through because they have too much going on, scripting and object-wise. Like, people want to stuff them with detail, but it ends up feeling clunky and unwieldy and choppy and laggy and not satisfying. So I think people in the map-making space, like I'm talking about the people who are actually making maps, should think about how they do it in a way, and maybe do it in a way that is better for the computer. I am okay with sacrificing some details, some extraneous scripts for a smoother experience. That is the core foundation that unites this map and some of the other first-person type maps I was playing, narrative, linear maps I was playing before this one. So all in all, I just recommend that map makers maybe adjust their priorities to fully prioritize, before everything else, the actual playing computer experience. Or maybe they just have really good computers, the people making these maps, but I have the feeling the average player's computer is not going to be that good. So I recommend going for something a little bit better on the PC. Games like Half-Life, for example, run super smooth. Games like Half-Life 2 run super smooth. And those are bigger games than this. So the detail is not the problem. It's just like putting in too much detail. I wasn't going into this video expecting to talk about this, but it's something that's been on my mind as I record these videos, where the maps are super cool, but the choppiness really takes me out of them. So that's just all my friendly advice to map makers is think about the computers. So anyway, I'm gonna come back to the Battle of Brandywine a little bit later on. Hopefully they can receive some updates and I can not lag as much and play it out to completion, because as you can tell, it has an amazing thumbnail, and it's great to see more historical battles in Ancient Warfare 3. So if this map does receive some updates on the performance end, I will more than happily try it again. I'm not going to give it an upvote or a downvote yet, as I don't really think of it as a completed map. It feels like it needs to do a little bit more cooking, and then it will be completed. So I'm going to end the video here, everybody. I hope this advice is helpful to at least some map makers. That's my goal on this YouTube channel, is to try to give my commentary on the playing experience for you. It lets you see the unadulterated playing experience and get the perspective of an outsider. So, with that in mind, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, as well as a comment down below if you have a map recommendation or any feedback and thoughts on what I've said in this video. Please feel free to drop a comment. I love reading and replying to them. That's it for today's video, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.